Yeah, I hadn't realised, Tony, how interesting the Millennium Reserve was until wandering around here and looking at your fantastic map. So the Masterton Fault runs from the Waingawa River through Solway School, through Solway Reserve, through Solway College, and then hits the Millennium Reserve, and then jumps down Michael Street and carries on. And this jump is really significant when you relate it to this boggy area that is the reserve, because this is a classic fault step over. And so what it means in terms of the tectonics of the area is if we draw a diagram of that, we've got the Masterton Fault coming along like this, and then it jumps and carries on like this. And so this is a consequence of the pressures in the Hikurangi subduction zone where it jets out to the east, and that's pushing everything this way, 4 centimetres per year. And so this is being pushed this way, and this is being pushed this way too. And so on the other side, it's being pushed that way and being pushed that way. And so what we've got in this area here is the fault movements are pushing things that way and pushing things that way. So that's what we call a pull apart. And so the Millennium Reserve is essentially a pull apart basin where water is accumulating. And on the hanging walls of all these faults, we've got streams coming in. The groundwater's been lifted up. This side's been lifted up. This side's been lifted up. This side's down. And so groundwater is percolating through the fault line and coming through over here and down here and over here. And so this is where a lot of the streams are originating.
Chris, can you tell me a little bit more about the surface that we stand on in Masterton, the Wahine surface, what it is and where it, what cause has caused it, and how does it affect all these streams and these fault lines?
Yeah, well, it's the same all through the Wairarapa Plain, that we're standing on a floodplain that was formed in the Glass Glacial period around 20,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So the whole planet was cold, and the Tararuas were so cold that no vegetation was growing up there, so the mountains were eroding at a much faster rate. And basically all the gravels that we see on the plains of the Wairarapa are formed during that glacial period between 40,000 and 20,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all of the rocks that we see in these streams are probably from that time. Yeah, so here's one of these streams.
Yep.
So where's it coming from? It's clearly not. This is the fault scarp, and there's no stream up here, so it's coming from the foot of the fault scarp. That means that the fault movements have uplifted this side and pushed the groundwater up. So it's percolating up the fault scarp. That's one way of explaining it. The other way is that the fault goes deep down and it's providing a conduit for water to come along, and it's just popping up every now and then.
What we're finding is this is the first of about 5 of these obvious start points of these springs. Under this walkway here, a spring has started.
So this is ancient seafloor from the Pacific Ocean.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a bit older than the Greywacky.
Yep.
From the Waingawa, from what I've discovered, it's the Kaweka terrain, so this is probably about 200 million years old.
What's the Kaweka terrain?
So there's 3 belts in the Tararuas. There's the Paho terrain that goes from the foothills of the Tararuas all the way out to the east coast, to Cape Palliser, and that's about 120 million years old. And there's another belt, which is the Kaweka terrain, which is 160 to 200 million years old, and that's the central part of the Tararuas. And then on the western side is the Rakaia terrain that goes all the way out to Red Rocks, and that's the oldest terrain.
Wow.
And so that's, gets up to 250 million years old. We're off topic now, you realise, but each of the each of the belts is a separate subduction system. So just like we're now in a modern subduction zone, back hundreds of millions of years ago in the Mesozoic, there were 3 periods of subduction. And so this welding of ocean rocks, the cherts, and the sandstones from Gondwana, the sandstones and mudstones, the greywackies, welded together. And so it happened with the Pāhau terrain, and so you see the red rocks, the Pāhau terrain out at Mātakitaki o Kupe at Cape Palliser. The Kāweka terrain red rocks are in the Waingawa, up at the top, but just down from Maida Flats Hut, there's this lovely outcrop of red rock. So we're on Hillcrest Street, and we've come to look at this stream which also runs into the Kurupuni stream. And it looks like it also runs out of the foot of the Masterton Fault. But you're saying, Gareth, that this would have been levelled off a little bit.
Yeah, there would have been a much sharper drop. This is a very old road. It's been here since the 1880s. Originally called Kurupuni Railway Road, because the railway station up there was called Kurupuni. Then later on it was called Short Street, despite it being one of the longest streets in town. And then in the 1970s, 60s and 70s it was renamed, so Short Street, then Intermediate Street where the intermediate school is, and then this part was called Hillcrest Street.
Right, okay.
So it actually names the crest of the hill is how it got its name.
So this whole area along here, essentially from the river all the way through, has streams running off the footwall of the fault. And in 1855 the Wairarapa Fault moved from 14 to 18 metres sideways and 4 to 6 metres up. So the largest fault movement ever recorded on the planet, the Wairarapa Fault.
So there were few Pākehā living in Masterton in 1855, of course. It was only settled in 1854. And I don't know whether it's a true story or not, whether it's apocryphal, but apparently William Adams and his wife Emma Dixon, they'd only recently married and she was quite young, they appeared at the house where all the other settlers had gathered, and apparently Joseph Masters looked at them and said, "Oh, Adam and Eve cast out of the Garden of Eden." So who knew Joseph Masters had a sense of humour? So there's a stream in here as well, and it skirts around, but it heads the wrong way.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Ta-da!
Sorry, it's
But
going the wrong way.
It's going the wrong way.
It's going uphill.
So it's coming out of the scarp,
Yeah,
but who knows whether that's been deliberately sent that way.
beautiful. So that is the line of the
So
fault
this is
scarp.
just, yeah, exactly. So this is part of the Masterton Intermediate School's farm.
This is another spring, and this is feeding into the Kurupuni stream, this one. So this is all part of the Kurupuni network.
So this is coming off the Masterton Fault
Masterton
again.
Fault.
This is the edge of the pull-apart basin, essentially. And so all of this area, from this paddock we're in here, and the Millennium Reserve, are all depressions because of the extension of the Wairarapa Fault, because it's jumping from over there to over here. So all of this area here is low-lying because it's been pulled apart by tectonics.
Yeah. Where this water is heading is into the Kurupuni stream. After that it's heading eastward to join the main river, the Rumahanga. This is all an extension of the Rumahanga River.